Thanks, Brian. I'm here on the front porch of the Iredell Veterans Transitional Home with Patti West, the Executive Director of Fifth Street Shelter Ministries, and with Will Long, who's the new Development Coordinator for Fifth Street. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks for inviting us.
My goal is to give people lots of information in a short amount of time so they can really understand all the great work that you do at Fifth Street and here at the Veterans House. So Patti, why don't we just start with kind of a quick overview so our viewers can understand the scope of homelessness in Iredell County.
There is no one face for homelessness, and homelessness is really a symptom of lots of different issues. You know, we have housed people with master's degrees who have their first draft of their novel in their briefcase, and then we house people who are chronically homeless. So the whole spectrum, they have come through our doors. At my sister's house, we only house women in that facility, and it's not uncommon for us to have a mother with 5, 6, 7 children living in one room. But it's better than the situation that she came from. And it gives her an opportunity to move forward and to offer her children a better life than what they have lived so far. A lot of the chronically homeless folks that we work with are dealing with mental health issues or substance abuse issues. Resources are limited. Those are very difficult issues to work with, but we have learned to utilize resources in the community, and really over the last few years this community has begun working together more than I've seen in the 28, 29 years I've been here.
Well, I think this facility is a great testament to that. Came together really in 6 or 7 months. You had several partners from throughout the community touching on all aspects of life, and it's a great program and a great facility. Will, can you give us an idea of the population that you're serving at any given time in terms of numbers, how many beds you have?
Well, we've got a diverse population. Some of them are going to be on a longer term basis, and some of them you'll find are quite fluid in and out. But just a broad brush of the numbers, we've got 142 beds at the facility here, which most people recognize as Fifth Street. But that's not our only facility, far from it. We've got that, and I guess you would refer to that as housing what most people recognize as the traditional homeless and or working poor. That's our largest facility. That's where we have most of our resources. We've also got a facility in the southern end of the county with 38 beds that's dedicated solely to emergency domestic violence situation for battered women, which are by and large a very short-term homeless situation. Our goal at Fifth Street is to get people from homeless to home, but that's a very complex connection between A and B because of how different each person's case is. Along that line, you're talking about dealing with underlying problems that cause the homelessness, which are as diverse as the population that we serve. It's mental health, which has a million different variations. It's substance abuse, which has a million different variations. It's a combination of those two, which has an infinite number of variations. It's sometimes just as simple as a matter of poor circumstance. Everybody that we deal with has their own unique story and presents in a different way, which makes our job somewhat difficult but also rewarding, because we get the opportunity to meet and work with probably the most realistic collection of life in our local community. We've also got the Veterans House, which is 5 beds plus the house manager dedicated to veterans homeless. We're in the beginning stages of looking at some other opportunities to serve the homeless population in our community.
So, roughly 185, 190 beds. Are you at or near capacity most of the time?
At my sister's house we are. And in the Veterans House we are as well. At 5th Street, we don't want to fill all of our beds because just given, the population that we have, we average about 100, 115 people a night at 5th Street. And once we get up to 125, that's probably the cutoff.
Okay.
When you put that many people in with the various issues that they're dealing with in a congregate living situation like that, it presents some problems. But we are so fortunate in that the resident staff that we have, as well as our own staff, and we really operate on a shoestring staff when you consider the number of services that we offer. They are just very dedicated and have a passion for what they do. So it's really not a job. We just kind of become a family.
That's a really good way of looking at it. That leads us into the next question. Give our viewers kind of an idea of and Will touched on this a little bit, the wide array of services and all the different agencies that you're working with, to help your clients improve the quality of their life.
Well, the services we offer are a night shelter and an emergency shelter / transitional housing, and we house both individuals and families. We have my sister's house that offers not only shelter for women and children, but we also offer court advocacy, victim advocacy, therapy, individual and group therapy through that program. And then, of course, the Veterans House, and all of our locations have case managers, and we try to work under the concept of person-centered case management to help folks meet the goals that they set for themselves, and we try to help them realistically meet those goals. We also have what we call our community kitchen, that I think is one of our very best programs, because we feed 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, and breakfast is only for shelter residents, but lunch and supper is open to anybody that needs a meal. I think last year we served over 95,000 meals. You know what our food budget is? $10,000. You know why? Because we have a wonderful community. And that's really the bottom line. Folks that do canned food drives for us and bring us their donations when they've had their hot dog suppers or their barbecues or whatever. We use our kitchen as a training program for our residents, and it is just a win-win situation all around. That is the best place if you're going to volunteer at 5th Street. That is the best place to come, is the kitchen, because you have that one-on-one contact with folks, and you see how genuine they are. They are grateful. They are pleasant. It's a great experience to be in that kitchen.
And what about helping your clients access outside services?
We provide transportation to necessary appointments, medical appointments, job interviews, to DSS, health department, hospital, wherever. We partner. There's no need for any of us to reinvent the wheel. So we really, over the years, have developed some good relationships with other agencies in the community. And to be on a first name basis with those folks. When you've got an issue and you think, oh my gosh, I need to call somebody at DSS, I'm going to call, and you have somebody with a name and a face that you can call. But there are few agencies in this town that we don't work with, and if we don't, it's just because we haven't had a need yet.
Okay. Well, give us an idea of the need for more involvement, more giving from the community. What does your budget picture look like for the year, and do you always know where that money's coming from? And Will, maybe you could tell us what are some new streams for revenue that you're looking for?
A board member described one time as our budget as a matter of faith, because it really is. I mean, we do our budget based on what we did the year before, and you know what came in, what went out. We receive a lot of grants, and grants are not for sure. You know, I hear people say all the time, "Oh, there's lots of grants out there," and there are, but they aren't all. You know, we don't always meet the specific criteria that they call for, and there is huge competition for those grants. So we do spend a lot of time writing grants, and we have been successful, but we have not been 100% successful. We rely on donations from churches and from individuals and businesses. And like I said before about the kitchen, this 5th Street is a community program. If it weren't for this community, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have made it 28, almost 29 years. So we are always, I always tell people that we get money anywhere we can legally.
Well, it's good to have a lawyer on your staff.
Exactly.
Now, who can help out, right?
Exactly.
And our needs are obviously financial based, but we also have material needs, because what we're doing while we're working from that homeless to home connection is providing the very basic necessities of life. So obviously the finances allow for us to provide the actual shelter and the staff and the utilities and the basic life needs in that regard, but we've also got material needs, clothing, which we get donated a ton of. The men's night shelter, one of our resident staff who effectively runs the men's night shelter put a list on my desk this morning saying, here's what we're in need of. We're in need of men's deodorant, we're in need of towels, and we're in need of razors. So towels, deodorant, razors. And those are, we're talking about very basic life needs that are ongoing, because we've got a population we're serving 365 days a year. Everything that if you think about everything that you use in your just very basic normal day of life, we are not trying to provide all of that, but a pretty good deal of it. So towels in particular are hard to come by right now. So if you've got new, preferably new, but gently used towels, those go a long way for the men in the night shelter right now, today.
And I want to add just one thing for the kitchen: spices.
Texas Pete.
Texas Pete,
Goes a long
garlic, Montreal steak seasoning, anything. We love it. They,
Yeah.
you know, we like to provide food that tastes good.
That sounds like a really simple thing to provide or to ask for, but if you're homeless and have not been fortunate enough to enjoy a very basic warm meal in a while, and somebody gives you something as luxurious as Texas Pete, it can make you feel really good.
And you appreciate it.
Yes.
And I like Texas Pete. So.
Well, I know this has been probably a very superficial discussion, but what I would like to do is end on a high note. Is there a success story, you know, without giving away or breaching confidentiality, that you can share so people who support 5th Street or people who might support 5th Street can say, magic is happening at 5th Street and this is what it looks like?
We do. Do you want to?
I'll just, maybe you can go into specifics, but I love to respond to that with, last year, we average historically 80 to 90,000 meals a year. Every meal that we serve is to someone who will not otherwise eat. So to me, that's a success. Every time we provide shelter to somebody who does not otherwise have shelter, we're giving a bed to someone who truly needs it, who would not otherwise have it. So to me, that's our success is on a very daily basis. If you're looking at small successes, which we have to, or you were hungry and you got to eat, that's a success. You were tired, you were dirty, you were unclothed, and we could provide that. That's a success. You're better off now than you were this morning. So there.
Okay. We do have we have lots of success stories, and sometimes success is measured in baby steps for a lot of folks. But one that came to my mind immediately was a woman who came to us 2 years ago, and she was strung out on meth, homeless, had nothing, and told me the other day that the last time she used meth was the day that she walked into the doors of 5th Street. She and her husband stayed there, worked our program. They moved out. She also has a mental illness, and we were able to help her get disability for the mental illness, and she's been in treatment. She and her husband live out of the shelter now, but she comes back every day, 5 days a week, and volunteers in our basement. And she does a fantastic job. She's even working on her desk some now. But she's giving back what was given to her. Well, she became aware of a young woman just this week that was really in dire straits and really had some very particular needs. And she came to me and told me about her. And so we went to see the woman. And it occurred to me as we were going to visit this woman who was desperately in need that she is really giving back now, because her heart was telling her that 5th Street could help this woman like we had helped her. And for me, that just said it all. It just came full circle.
That's incredible. That's a great story. Well, thank you both so much for taking the time to share with us, and I'm certainly appreciative of everything you do, and I know the entire community is, and you know, we look forward to hearing more success stories and more stories about our community getting involved with 5th Street to make it an even better place.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.